I've been using the M4 iPad Pro as my only computer for a year now. The M4 iPad Pro was released a year ago this week, and I got it the day it came out. And the crazy thing is that I traded in my MacBook Pro at the time to get this iPad because I wanted it to be my only device, and I wanted to get a discount from the trade-in. And I actually created this YouTube channel for the very purpose of demonstrating how the iPad Pro can actually replace your computer and do real productivity and real work every day. Before I bought the device, I was looking on YouTube. I was looking for advice on whether or not the iPad could actually be my only computer, and I was really disappointed at the information that I was finding. Most people said it was just a really expensive consumption device, and if there were YouTubers that actually said they used it as their full-time computer, they really weren't giving good demonstrations or examples of real productivity work. They were just editing videos or writing blogs. They were answering emails and typing up notes, not real major work like I'm used to doing. So when I say I use this device as my only computer, I really mean it. It serves as my full-on productivity machine, so I'm a project manager by day, and I have to do all the normal things that you do in an office. So I use the full Microsoft Office suite. That includes PowerPoint, Excel, Word, Teams, Outlook, all the Microsoft things. I have to use web applications like Smartsheet and Google Docs. That's used all the time in my day job. And I have a nighttime teaching position, and I really need to take advantage of the Apple Pencil because I'm doing all kinds of math lectures and discussing language arts, as well as science and social studies. So I really wanted a two-in-one experience, and I was hoping the iPad Pro could deliver that. I needed that computer functionality, but I also need the tablet for teaching. Now, I also use my iPad Pro for all of my YouTube content. So my iPad Pro edits my video, and I use it for graphic design for thumbnails. And I have been super impressed with how the iPad Pro can handle all this work. It's actually been a really good year, and I've really tried to document it well, and you can check out my other content to see how I use this iPad Pro in work and productivity every day. In addition to being a productivity beast, the iPad Pro is also the best consumption and entertainment device I've ever bought. So I can use it to watch all kinds of media. That is awesome. It's got that beautiful OLED display, and everything just looks amazing on it. I also use it for gaming, and I'm not just talking about mobile gaming, although it is really good at that, but I use it for Xbox cloud gaming, and I also use Shadow PC to connect to a cloud PC and do some PC gaming. And it looks amazing on the iPad's display. I love it. So in purchasing this iPad Pro, I only had one regret, and that is that I didn't get the higher end model. So I started out with the base model, the 256 gigs of storage, and that base model comes with 8 gigs of RAM and the lower end M4 chip. So about 10 months in, I decided to trade in my M4 iPad Pro for a better one. So I went to the Apple Store, I got over $700 for my current iPad Pro, and I got a higher end model. I got the 1 terabyte of storage, I got the Nano-texture display, and of course with that iPad model comes the 16 gigs of RAM and a better M4 chip. And so in this video, I want to give you a rundown of my experience over this year with the M4 iPad Pro. Was it worth upgrading to the better version or not? And then I want to just give a good rundown on the experience I've had in using the iPad Pro as a productivity machine. All right, let's jump into it. Okay, so this is my iPad Pro with the Nano-texture display, and it's got the 1 terabyte of storage, 16 gigs of RAM, and the beefed up M4 chip. And this thing has been an absolute delight to use. And so I want to talk about the main differences between that base model and this souped up model iPad Pro. So first of all, the Nano-texture display. Man, do I love that feature. So I'll talk about the pluses of Nano-texture. There is one minus though that I think goes with this. And so first of all, the Nano-texture's main purpose is to reduce glare, and it does that super well. And when you're a content creator and you're shining light on a device all the time, you're creating a lot of glare. And so the iPad Pro with Nano-texture display is just better for recording. But in addition, it's also better for using outside or just using in high lighting scenarios. You just don't get the glare like in that glossy finish of the regular iPad Pro. The Nano-texture gives a matte-like finish instead of a glossy finish. It just looks a little bit different, and it feels different to the touch, and it really feels different to write on with the Apple Pencil. It gives a more paper-like feel, which I really love because I write all the time with my Apple Pencil when I'm teaching. Now, the one downside I'll say to Nano-texture glass is that it smudges easier, so I do notice that it just picks up oil a lot easier, and it's harder to get off. You can't actually clean it with a normal microfiber cloth. You have to use the special microfiber cloth that's inside the box when you purchase the device. And so, yeah, I've learned to just carry this guy with me when I need it, so you can wipe those fingerprints off quickly and easily. If you use this cloth, it's fine. But other than that, the Nano-texture display is awesome, and if you're going to buy an iPad this expensive, it's worth the extra $100 bucks to get that nano-texture feature. I wouldn't pass that up if you're getting this higher end model. Now, this higher end model does cost $2,000, by the way, so if you're going to pay that kind of money, you want to make sure that you need the extra hardware that's inside. So this comes with the 1 terabyte of storage. I need that because I do a lot of video editing, but if you're just doing basic productivity, if you're just working with Word docs, PowerPoint presentations, I can't really recommend that you need that much storage. But I use it a lot. My Final Cut Pro projects are pretty big, and so it's nice to just have a lot of storage so I don't worry about running out. I was running out all the time with that 256 model. I constantly had to delete video projects, which was really annoying. Now, concerning the beefed up M4 chip, you do get a couple more cores with this version. You also get the 16 gigs of RAM, and I'm not going to lie, I do notice a difference in video editing when it comes to having that extra RAM. So again, if you're not doing video editing or if you're not doing high-end graphic design, you're probably not going to notice the extra RAM or the M4 chip bump. But if you're pumping out 4K video, you will notice. It is definitely a speed increase. Now, I think that extra RAM is also going to come in handy when they release iPad OS 19 and they improve multitasking features. There's not a whole lot of information out there on that yet, but I'm betting the extra RAM wouldn't hurt anything. Okay, so let's talk a minute about productivity on the iPad Pro. So this is probably one of the biggest complaints that people have, is that it just doesn't work like a Mac, and of course it does not work like a Mac completely. There are some similarities, but for the most part, iPad OS is its own operating system for sure. But honestly, I'm actually really happy with how far the iPad has come and the operating system. I think the file management system's actually pretty good. I've got a whole video on how to use file management. I think it's pretty awesome and very similar to a Mac. I think the productivity apps have also come a long way. I think Microsoft Office is actually pretty decent. I use Outlook and Teams to host meetings, schedule meetings. I use Word and Excel to manage budgets, make agendas, and I collaborate with my team members on editing scopes of work, contracts, things like that. I also use PowerPoint to present and teach in my classes at nighttime, and I think it's an awesome piece of software. It works just fine for me. There are a few missing features that a lot of hardcore users note on my channel, but for me, I haven't really needed things like macros for Excel, for example. I think there are some more pro-level apps that have come, like Final Cut Pro is finally on the iPad. I actually really love it. I think it's simple and easy to use, and it works great with the touch features that the iPad offers. And you can use the Apple Pencil to edit your video as well, which is really smooth. Another piece that's really awesome is Stage Manager that they came out with a couple years ago, and I hadn't really used that feature till I bought my M4 iPad Pro, and I think it's awesome. You can connect to a secondary display now. You can open multiple apps at a time. You could never do that before years ago. I use an Apple Studio display, so everything just works. Stage Manager is great for having 2 displays at once where you can get a lot of work done, very similar to a computer. And I'm looking forward to iOS 19 where they're supposed to upgrade Stage Manager even further and give you more Mac-like features. So I'm anxiously awaiting that. But I've been really pleased and happy with my iPad Pro and its ability to do real-world productivity and work. I've got lots of content on that if you want to check that out on my channel. So would I recommend the M4 iPad Pro? Absolutely. It's been an amazing device, and I haven't touched a Mac in a year now. So yeah, it did replace it for me. Now, I will note that it doesn't work for everybody. If you have specific software needs that only a Mac or PC can do, then obviously you're not going to be able to use an iPad. But for a lot of us, this is all the computer that you might ever need. Like I said, I'm looking forward to iOS 19, and I'm looking forward to the M5 iPad to see what changes they make. Maybe they'll boost the RAM. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'd love to see 32 gigs of RAM in this beast. I think it'd be awesome. All right, I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know if there's something you'd like to know about this iPad in the comments below. I'll take a look at those. That's all I got for you. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.